In this video, we are making these irresistible emoji pom poms. What you need are any loom tool, your Loome pom pom trim guide, worsted weight yarn in emoji yellow, black fingering weight yarn 12 inches, any color embroidery floss 18 inches, a dab of glue, a needle, very sharp scissors for trimming, and a tray or bowl to catch your pom-pom trimmings. Okay, let's get started. So the first step is to wind the yellow yarn onto your loom tool. The tension shouldn't be too tight or too loose. And the trick that I have for winding yarn and cutting your winding time in half is to take both ends of your yarn. So there should be one end inside the yarn ball and then the other end outside. If you don't find the other end, just go ahead and use a single strand. Secure your ends onto any of the notches and then start winding. Again, not too tight, not too loose. This part is really important. Okay, so we're going to go 15 revolutions, or if you're using a single strand, 30 revolution. Start winding. What you want to do is wind a 1.5 inch span across the two arms of your loom tool evenly. Once you're done, you're going to secure it to any of the notches. The way the winding works on the XL tool is as shown here, and then for the big A is also across the two arms. Pretty easy. Okay, now we are going to add the eyes. So bring in your black fingering weight yarn and we're going to cut 2 pieces. You could measure it by just laying the yarn right on top of your yarn and then snip. I try to kind of just press it down so that it stays in place and then cut your second piece. The distance between the 2 pieces of yarn here, I'm going to show you on the pom-pom here real quickly, is the distance between the eyes. So let me grab the pom-pom. See the distance there? It's the distance here. Okay, for the next step, what you want to do is really gently wind the remaining yarn kind of over those 2 black pieces of yarn. Do it gently first, and once you have them covered, you could just move and wind really quickly. The more you wind, the bigger your pom-pom. So you could do 50 revolutions with your double yarn, or 100 revolutions if you're doing single strand, and then 200 revolutions or 400 for a really big pom-pom. I'm going to speed this part up. Now when you're done, you could secure this to any of the notches and then cut your yarn. Set your yarn aside and now bring in your embroidery floss. What we're going to do is slide the embroidery floss under the yarn bundle like so. Should fit pretty easily under the yarn bundle. Now if you are making the pom-pom on the bigger side, what you're going to do, which is a trick, is take your needle, thread it, and just use your needle to actually help guide the embroidery floss under your yarn bundle. The next step is to make sure that your ends are even, and then you're going to make 1 tie, not a knot, just 1 tie. Doesn't have to be tight. And then you're going to take the end on the side closest to the underside of the yarn bundle, and then you're going to slide it again underneath the yarn bundle and then flip your tool over completely. Now you're going to make a double overhand knot, also known as a surgeon's knot. All right, this can be a little bit tricky, so let me do that again. So you're going 1, 2, overhand knot. Now you're going to gently tighten, so that it's snug. It doesn't have to be super tight, and you're going to slide the yarn bundle off the loom tool. Now you're going to tighten the knot as much as possible, by working really close and really quick, you can actually tighten the knot really, really well. Make another double knot to completely close it out, and then trim the ends. Now for the next step, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut all the loops of your untrimmed pom-pom. Having sharp scissors is really noticeable here. You could go to our site for some of the scissors that we recommend. The one that I'm using here is a Singer Professional, and they are great and they stay sharp for a really, really long time. Okay, I'm going to run the scissors through the pom-pom real fast to catch all the loops. If I don't, no big deal, they'll show up later. Bring in your pom-pom trim guide and put it center to the pom-pom and start trimming. So basically you're going to trace and trim. The pom-pom trim guide is great for helping you speed up the pom-pom trimming process and also keeping your pom-pom round. This part can take a really long time without it. And a quick reminder, if you are making a really, really big pom-pom, you're not going to trace and trim right close to the edge of the pom-pom trim guide. You're going to leave a little bit of space, about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. Okay. Since this is a 3-dimensional shape, you're going to have to just turn one wrist, turn, and then trim again by tracing with the pom-pom trim guide. Okay. Now I always like to gently fluff the pom-pom. This really helps bring out some of the hidden loops, etc. And at this stage, this is actually called the loose trim, but we're going to do a tight trim or an pom-pom. And what I like to do is just pick one patch on my pom-pom and trim it down to the density that I like. And once I get that, I'm going to start trimming just one perimeter. Again, you need to just focus on trimming on one perimeter. This can take a while, so I sped that up. Okay, once your perimeter is completely clean, you're going to repeat for the 2 shaggy ends on the other side. Again, focusing it on the perimeter. Don't start turning your pom-pom all over the place. This really helps you keep the pom-pom round. Okay, I sped that up a little bit because that could take a few minutes as well. Gently fluff. And now for the last stage, you're going to take very, very little off. You're just basically cleaning up your pom-pom. This can take an additional 1 to 5 minutes, and I'll speed that up as well. It's like going to the hair salon where your stylist is just taking very, very little off at the end. Okay, this looks great. Now you're going to look for the set of eyes that you like. Some are a little bit more set apart. Some are really close, but there is a good side. Choose the one that you like the most. So before we move forward with this step, I like to say that if you are planning to hang or attach your emoji to a string or anything else, I would do that attachment first before you actually identify the set of eyes that you like. Okay, so my string is in place. Now I'm going to look for the set of eyes that I really like. So you can keep turning it and see which one you like the best. Okay, I like this one in the front. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to take the sharp end and just dig into the pom-pom and cut out the black yarn. So this is the nice thing about these scissors. They work really, really well and the tip is quite sharp. So you just need to just insert it in slightly and then just cut. This one is a little bit fuzzy, so it's taking a little bit of a long time for me to do. Okay, here we go. I think that looks pretty good. All right. Oh, so cute already. So now for this next step, what we're going to do is we are going to figure out which expression you like by measuring out the expression. So you could do a sad face, the classic happy, or the meh expression. So I just measured this out with the black fingering weight yarn, and then I cut. Believe it or not, it doesn't have to be super precise. You can actually manipulate it a little bit later with your needle. All right, so dab that glue. Whoops, this glue is really sticky. All right, it's just a tiny bit of glue. If you have a glue gun, you could use that as well. All right, so I'm going to dab. And then just set the black yarn and the expression onto the emoji. See how easy that is? Now I'm going to just rub the glue off the needle. And I am going to just kind of move my expression around a little bit. Don't worry about that glue. It'll dry clear, so it's not a big deal. How cute is that? I'm totally obsessed with making these. They're so fun. Enjoy.